Hey there, Bellator Society. You might see here that Tracy is not here today. She's out this week, but she'll be back next week. But we do have a guest co-host, Forrest Barnett. You
Hi.
may recognize. Hello, Forrest. She is in Denver, Colorado. Are you in Denver right now? Like, is that your present location? Do you want to give your present location?
Ooh, what about all the stalkers who go on live streams? I'm in the middle of organizing my classroom in Aurora. My classroom's in Aurora.
Okay.
So.
All right. So I was inaccurate. That's fine. I was not accurate.
Okay.
You were in Aurora, not
It's
Denver. But we have a very special guest today, and it's Carlos Germosen. He is a seminarian with the Archdiocese of New York. Are you in Yonkers? No, you're not. You said you were during your pastoral year.
I'm in Scarsdale, New York, but the seminary is in Yonkers. Yeah.
All right, in Scarsdale. So he's at St. Joseph Seminary in Yonkers, but doing his pastoral year this year, and so he is busy, not busy because of the Rona.
Yep. Yeah, stop and go, but just doing whatever I can.
So we have Carlos on the live stream today to chat with us a little bit about social media. And so it's actually genius that Forrest is also joining us because she is our Bellator Society social media coordinator, guru. What is your official title? I should know this.
I think it's High Empress of the social media.
Overlord
business
of
card.
the social media.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you're legally obligated to get business cards with High Empress.
Yes, we can make them prayer business cards. I'll put like a little, who's the patron of social media? I don't know.
Would it be?
There's no way we have one yet. Fulton Sheen maybe is the closest.
Who is the patroness of TV? Is it Catherine of Siena because of Visions?
I
right?
think so. I don't.
So that would probably be the same. I think that it transfers because, I mean, social media is just the new TV. That's where people are getting their entertainment, which again is why Carlos is here today, because if you don't recognize him as the illustrious seminarian from New York, you might recognize him as the Tik-Tok seminarian. That is actually how we became acquainted with Carlos, because our Twitter manager, who is not Forrest, although Forrest does things on Twitter for us, we have another guy who does Twitter stuff for Bellator Society, and he was like, "You have got to see the Tik-Tok seminarian. We need to talk to him," and he was right. And I'm a big fan, so thank you for coming on the live stream today.
No problem. It's my pleasure. I'm so excited.
Me too. I want to jump into our topic, which is social media, the good, the bad, the ugly, how we as Catholics can behave well using these social media platforms, how we might behave badly using all of these social media platforms. I guess I want to start with a recent tweet by, I think it was a priest, correct me if I'm wrong, but he said, he made sort of, I think it was a tongue-in-cheek tweet recently that seminarians should not have Twitter accounts. And yet you do. Let's talk a little bit about that. Was he right?
Well, I always respond with like a meme. I'm like, oh, why me? But he always tells me like, you're the one exception, Carlos, don't worry. But I can understand where he's coming from. Just information, there's like a lot of distractions, and social media can very easily be a distraction. So, if you're spending way too much time on social media and not enough time like praying and studying and kind of just focusing on information, then yeah, it can be a huge obstacle, and it could really impact just your prayer life. And, you can get by year, but like sooner or later, just that lack of attention to what's important catch up to you. And so, you can use social media prudently, and our faculty is very aware. And, I've gotten like a few talks from my advisor saying like, hey, I love what you're doing on social media, but be careful with what you post, what you like, what you retweet, because, even, it could be just a harmless meme, but someone somewhere, there's always going to be someone that kind of takes it very personally, and you don't want to cause, like a scandal and scandalize a potential Catholic, an interested Catholic, just someone who's just interested in the faith. So, because they see this, like they just see, okay, this is what the church says. So this church likes a meme that's talking about X amount of people or whatever, And, even though I found it funny and other people might find it funny, then, it could be very harmful. So like, especially just with politics, especially like this year, like it could be very, very, dangerous, depending what you like, retweet, stuff like that. So, if you're able to use social media prudently and like, your advisors are telling you that, yeah, you can have social media, like there's no problem. But like, if you seriously have a problem, like, if you're one of those people that just goes online to complain about everything, then just take a break, cut it off. Like, you shouldn't be on.
Yeah.
So, he's right, but not completely. There's an asterisk.
You kind of took the middle road there. I like it.
Okay, just like the church via media.
Exactly. That's right. Virtue is in the middle.
Yeah.
So this might be a question for the both of you, because you're both on social media. I would imagine more than I am. What are your guardrails? Like, how do we act in prudence? How do we know when retweeting or liking is too much? Because it's a different thing. Like, something that I post as the primary poster, usually comes from my own brain, my own heart. I need to take responsibility for it. But do we take responsibility for everything that we like, everything that we, I guess everything we retweet might be a little bit more personal than just liking something. But like, do you have personal, like, again, guardrails for these are the people I will retweet or like, or is it really just a case by case? Are we using Jesuit casuistry, case by case tweets?
Yeah.
I'll let Carlos go first on that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, like, my social media is just my personal account. I'm not like saying like, everything I say is endorsed by the church. I'm not even like in terms of the minor orders, I'm just a lector. So like, like I have no authority whatsoever. So like, I make that clear, like in my bio, I said, it's a very seminarian thing to do. Put opinions my own, likes, retweets, not endorsements, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it's sort of a case by case thing for me. Just, like, I try not to like too many political things. But like I'll express my opinion, but if it's gonna do damage, or if it doesn't need to be said, if it's just I just want to say it for, just get attention, or like because attention is nice. Let's like it could be very tempting, but like there's always a question of like, why am I tweeting, or why am I retweeting, or whatever. And if it's because I genuinely care about what I'm retweeting or saying, then yeah, I'll tweet it. But like, if it's to get attention, or to kind of just side with one, because you can very easily find yourself on one of two sides, or many different groups. And if you want to, if you're just liking or retweeting just to be a part of one group or whatever, to identify or kind of make friendly, then I don't know. It seems sort of fake. I guess.
Yeah.
It's not genuine. Like my kind of something that I've worked hard to, and my classmates and seminarian brothers will constantly tell me, and I know one in particular who always says, be genuine, because that's what the people want. And so that's the golden rule, basically.
Forrest, do you have that genuine?
Yeah, I think the genuine thing is a really good rule of thumb. It's a little different as a layperson, because I mean, Carlos is a seminarian, whether he likes it or not, because of his collar, is representing the Diocese of New York, the Archdiocese of New York, as well as seminarians everywhere. And it doesn't matter how many times in his bio he puts that my opinions are not those of my employer, people are still going to view it that way. And that's hard. As a layperson, the balance is a little bit different, because I'm not someone that people are listening to for theological expertise necessarily. But as someone who is a baptized member of the church and professes the faith, it is still my responsibility to avoid scandal. So perhaps I have a little more freedom in what I like and retweet. I'm not afraid to like and retweet political things, because I don't represent the church, right? But it's still inappropriate for me to act a certain way online. And I think we've seen a lot of this lately. Bishop Barron, I think this week or soon-ish, is doing an invite-only like live talk on how to handle inappropriate behavior, Catholic behavior online specifically. And I think we need that, because it's easy for
Yes.
someone like me to feel like, oh, I know what the church actually teaches, and this anonymous account online doesn't. And I need to show them in brotherly, fraternal correction. I need to show them who's boss. And that's not the attitude of the church, and it's not appropriate.
Mm-hmm. You know, Father Barron is so good about, I mean, this is his gift, is responding in charity and in clarity, but both of those things. But, you know, he also he's done numerous homilies, you know, when I was listening to him more regularly for his daily homilies when he would post them. I don't know if he still does, but it was, the theme was often, you know, turn the other cheek. Meaning you don't have to respond to everybody who is wrong about you on the internet. And that is hard. And not just you personally, but your church even. Like, we don't have to respond to every wrong opinion that exists on the internet about our church even, because, you know, I'm not the savior. You know, Jesus allows people to have wrong opinions about him. He allowed them to nail him to a cross because of their wrong opinions about him. And so how do we as Catholics imitate Christ in our behavior? I mean, I am so jazzed for that. I would love to hear. I didn't get an invitation. Bishop Barron.
Me either.
Me neither. So.
I want to know more about that, because I think that's something that we all struggle with. I do also want to talk a little bit about, I think that you first, Carlos, mentioned this idea of authenticity and being genuine online and the importance of that. But it's a very complicated thing, because on one hand, we have Instagram world. And the whole idea of Instagram is look beautiful, look perfect, perfectly curated, all of those things. And yet at the same time, you hear, but be authentic. Be perfect, but be authentic. So basically, you just need to be perfectly authentic and authentically perfect in every way. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, how do we balance those two demands? Because I think they're coming from the same audiences. Like, if we're thinking about it in terms of like, okay, I'm not a millennial, but talking about it in terms of like millennial sensibilities, like we do have this desire for a curated presence or identity online. On the other hand, there is a desire for authenticity, and they're not always the same thing. I would even venture to say they're not often the same thing.
Right.
What do y'all think?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Yeah, I mean, because like, you like all the stuff on your Instagram feed is like aesthetically, that's the new word, aesthetics.
Yeah.
And make it aesthetically pleasing. But I think you can achieve both. Like, and that's why the comment section is the comment section, just because I've seen there's one like blogger I follow on Instagram that she posts really beautiful pictures, and like but like it's photographs from her phone, like taking a picture of her, like her crucifix or a church or whatever, and then she spends the caption just writing a really beautiful like reflection on like her struggle before entering the church, or or just struggles with modern belief now, or just just a beautiful faith story about her spiritual life. And so it can be achieved, but the thing is, it's like you have to know your audience and like know what they like, and and so you can curate like that for your audience, but at the same time you want to be genuine. You don't want to just like, it's the same thing, like, why do you tweet what you tweet? Well, like, am I tweeting it just to get attention, or just to make my stance firm on just one side, or do I really want to share this with people because like it's something that came to me in prayer? Like sometimes I'll be in my holy hour, and I'll just be praying over a gospel, or getting stuff ready for like a mass reflection, and a thought will come to mind. I'm like, oh, could I tweet this? Like, would this sound pretty cool? But like, and then the question becomes like, why do you want to tweet it, or why do you want to post it? Is it because you really want to share, or for other reasons? And so the same rule applies, I think, on Instagram. It's just like, you can make it aesthetically pleasing, and not everybody's going to like it, but at the same time, as long as you're being genuine, I think that's what really matters. Because once you step over the side of like just not being genuine or authentic, then people can sense that more than we give them credit, honestly. But.
No, I think you're right. Intention is so prime in all of those decisions, for sure. Forrest, what do you think? Do you think, how do you balance, or how do you see people doing it well or not well?
I think in addition to the genuineness, as Catholics, we're called to respond in charity as well, which can be hard because sometimes you just want to snap back at someone who is very wrong or very insulting about, say, the Virgin Mary, right? Who we all are very protective of, or nuns who are like the puppy dog of Catholic Twitter. We all want to protect them. But if we're not responding in charity, it is possible to sin online. I think it's easy for us to forget that because there's a screen. It's not really my action because it was just on the internet.
Yeah.
So we have to respond in charity. I think I've seen some people who, I think of Tea with Tolkien, a friend of Bellator, in particular, kind of on Twitter at least. I'm not as on Instagram as I am on Twitter. We kind of talk about a brand. And I remember there was some like tweet going around that was like, explain the one thing about you that is so off brand people wouldn't believe it. And her name is Tea with Tolkien, and she retweeted it and says, I actually prefer coffee. Which is off brand. But I think that the fact that there is a brand there, and you know, she has that as part of a business that she does, right? She publishes little booklets and stuff and leads book studies and things. But I think that having that brand can also be protective, right? I'm here and I'm establishing this persona, which is not me, and it allows me to step back. So when someone attacks my brand, maybe there's some space there. Maybe it's not healthy for me to put my heart and soul on social media. And for this purpose, because Carlos pointed out, there is a desire to do that, a desire to be known through social media. I think people make alt accounts for that reason, accounts that are locked and are not their primary account, where they can choose who is listening in, and then they can be a little bit more honest or a little bit more vulnerable there. And I think we have to do the Catholic brand and balance those things, because it is good to be known and it is good to see authenticity online, and we should, but also maybe it is healthy to keep some separation between our accounts and ourselves.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good point.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's super important just to, like, you know, it's especially like with your spiritual life, that, you know, you can get a really powerful spiritual insight that you want to share, but it's something probably that you really shouldn't, because it's just so personal. And so like we had this I don't know if you know Father Timothy Gallagher, and he writes on his writing on the discernment of spirits. And if you ever heard him talk, we had this past year we had our seminary retreat given by him.
That's
one
amazing.
Of the things,
wow.
Yeah, it was such a great retreat. And one of the things he kept saying that we always like make fun of is like, you know, we are standing on holy ground here. And I'm like, we're just, you know, in the seminary and on Long Island, and like looking around like, holy ground, what are you talking about?
Long Island.
But, so, but he explained, he said, you know, we're on holy ground because we're, you know, whenever we were reading from, you know, a saint's diary, or like we're reading Story of the Soul from Therese, or you know, Augustine's Confessions, or writings from Saint Ignatius. And he said, we're on holy ground here because, you know, we're delving into someone's soul. And you know, there's a desire to share that, and you can, and it's beautiful. Thank God the saints wrote things down, so because we can learn from them. You know, but sometimes there are some things that you just, you know, keep between God and yourself, between your spiritual director and yourself, because, you know, sharing it might kind of spoil the fruit, maybe. You know, even as well intentioned and as awesome as it is, sometimes it's that private revelation should be just, you know, keep it to yourself. And you can express, there's a way of expressing it online too, that you can just kind of express that gift. Like, let's say you receive in prayer this like desire to suffer with your people, like, or suffer with, you know, with your brothers and sisters. So like, you don't have to say like, just tweet like Michael Scott in the office, like, I declare bankruptcy. Like, you don't just declare like, I'm suffering with you. Like, you know, like, you know, there's ways of doing that. You know, just, you know, praying for the people online who you see are going through a really tough difficulty. And I don't want to like steal the conversation, but like, I know that was one of the things. Interviewed.
Like, this is basically your conversation. Say whatever you want to say. This is your time. Just be discerning.
yeah, always discerning. But what was I saying? Now I got thrown off. But so that one of the good things about Catholic Twitter is just, besides, sharing your faith life and kind of just being normal online, because there's always the desire to just meet normal Catholics that, like The Office and like going to Latin Mass or whatever. So, but there's also a great point of that it's a great community to go to like just say like, hey, pray for me because I'm going through X, Y, and Z. And, praying with those people is, a way of exercising those, private revelations you have. Like, let's say, like, I really do want to suffer with my people. Yeah, I'm going to pray for this girl who's really struggling with her faith, or this guy whose wife is in labor, or whose wife is experiencing like some complications, or this guy who's really struggling with his discernment. Like, that's a one of the great things about social media is that you have that community that you can be friends with and share like the most awesome spiritual things, and then the most like mundane, like, hey, like I tripped on my way to chapel this morning and like everybody saw it, now I'm embarrassed, like
or I dipped my hand in the holy water font and realized there hasn't been holy water there for 3 months.
Exactly.
Yeah. Carlos, we're talking a lot about Catholic Twitter, in which a lot of those interactions can happen. And I can say that since joining and being more active on like the Catholic corner of Twitter, I've prayed more often. Yeah. But you're not as known for Twitter as you are for TikTok. So I'm not on TikTok. Potentially in a few months, no one will be. But how did you come across TikTok? What made you want to be on it? And then how do you continue this kind of apostolate there?
So it's not as interesting as you might think. Like, literally, I was just bored. Like,
that sounds right.
Yeah, a couple of my classmates who were like, I think this is before I downloaded the app, but like, he would text me like links to TikToks that were really funny, and then I was like, what? I'm just gonna download the app, and naturally sucked away 2-3 hours at a time, like just mindlessly, going through, and it's awesome. And then I think one day I just decided, like, let me see if there's like Catholic sounds or whatever, and I found a couple, and then I said, and it was like early in the semester, and nothing was really going on yet, and we didn't get that much work, so we're just in the syllabus week and whatever. And I was like, oh, let me just wait going. Let's see what happens. And then that took off. So, yeah, I mean, like, how do I say this? Like, my TikToks, I guess, or the videos that I post on Twitter get more, I guess, attention on Twitter than they do on TikTok.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, and a couple of guys pointed out, they're like, yeah, like you have like maybe 100 likes here, and then over here it's like going viral on Twitter. I'm like, I don't know.
It's so interesting that you're using one platform, but it's more successful on another. That's
yeah, like a lot of people who don't have the app like still see the good TikToks on Twitter, like it's just because they naturally go viral. But
and we should say you just did a greatest hits tweet of your TikToks recently, didn't you? Like have all of your best TikTok videos in one like thread.
It was so fun. I didn't even see that. That's great.
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's my pinned tweet. So whoever wants to see it, go. But
throw out your handle, Carlos. What's your handle for Twitter so people can see it?
Yeah, it's seminarian CAG on Twitter, all one word. So a couple of people had asked me if I could just make a thread of them all, and I was like, it's so much work because I have to like dig through my Twitter profile, like put it all together. But like, people who just don't want to use the app like still want to see the TikTok. So I just said, okay, like, I just
like that person. You did it for me, Carlos.
Well, no, it's my pleasure. But yeah, so I just put it all together. I just figured just keep them there.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite one? And what is like the people's favorite one? And are they different?
Ooh, I don't know.
Do you
I really
follow the
don't.
data analytics on each one to like see which one, like, okay, this went well, we're gonna do this one again, we're gonna try something like this?
I know the one I did about the St. Jude statue where like
Mhm.
just switch images. Like that one's the most popular.
Okay.
And one of my classmates, he says that it literally made him like burst out laughing. So I consider that a personal achievement. If I got him to laugh, like
Yeah.
okay, like I know I made it. But but now I really don't check like the analytics and stuff like that. It's just kind of, I mean, like I'll check the like how many likes it's got or whatever, um and that was one of the things that like it's very easy to kind of just get consumed into like, oh my gosh, this didn't do so too well, like
Yeah.
but yeah, but like someone had asked me before like how do you create these, and I'm like, well, I just go on TikTok, and if there's a sound that I think could work, it works, then make it happen, and then just post it and see what happens. But yeah,
Well,
I mean,
and they're super fun, but they're also smart. I mean, you're also doing things that are not, I mean, not everybody has that kind of creativity or that thought process. And you're kind of like, whether intentionally, whether you have studied how to put your finger on the pulse of what people like to watch, you're still doing it. And that's I mean, that's a gift. Do you imagine that you're going to continue as you move forward in your vocation? Is your bishop going to tell you at ordination, put down the TikTok father videos?
well, like we'll see in a couple months how
Yeah.
if it survives. But honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'm just doing my thing. Like it's nothing that has like a specific like goal. Like, oh yeah, I need to make like I need to pump out like 3 videos a week, or like just to keep the momentum going. But like I have a YouTube channel that I made a video for class one time, and I think I might keep that going. But it's honestly like just however the year plays out. Just because like now that I'm at a parish and I'm assigned there, like the parish responsibilities come first, and then if I have time to do whatever, like God willing, with schools opening up, I might be teaching a few days a week, visiting a hospital 1 day a week, just other, besides serving mass and preaching at mass and doing different things. So like, if I had the time to do it, then yeah, sure. Like I'm all for it. I'm gonna keep making videos whenever a funny idea pops into my mind. But at the time, it's like, I just do whatever my pastor wants me to do, and kind of just be the seminarian at the parish, and then just continue being me online.
We hope you keep it up. I do have a question about trolls and bullying and stuff like that. Have either one of you experienced that? Again, both of you are more active than I am on social media. So what is your experience of that? What do you feel like is the appropriate response? And again, it may be case by case, like whether or not you actually know that person or don't know that person. But what do you like? Can you share any anecdotal experience? Can you share anecdotal experiences about being cyberbullied, or just maybe not you personally, but things that you've witnessed as, okay, that was well done, or it could have done that differently?
Trying to think.
Forrest, I see like fireworks coming out of your head. Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
I was just thinking,
cataloging all of the.
Well, I kind of mentioned this before we started, but like the most recent one that I can think of,
which is my personal
you do get
favorite.
Trolls. Yeah, you do get trolled. I don't have like a massive following, so I don't get trolled nearly as often as a lot of the bigger accounts or more popular accounts. But I did get trolled recently. There's a modesty discussion, which, as someone who studies Catholic sexual ethics and has a history, teaching chastity and stuff, it's something I care about, and I made the mistake of getting involved. And it ended in a certain user who is known for not being particularly charitable. Because my username is Forrest, and that's my real name. Like I know it's a guy name, but it was a birthday gift. I can't do anything about it. My account picture always has my husband in it because we have cute wedding photos. And so he just assumed that I was a guy and started berating me for not covering my wife appropriately. And if I was truly well versed in Catholic teaching, especially on modesty. I would cover my wife appropriately. And
why don't you, Forrest? Why don't you start covering your wife?
I'll make a point to do so. I feel much more educated now that I got yelled at online.
Did you respond?
So it started with me basically, that came after I made a few points about modesty that did not sit well with him. I think they're correct, but obviously he did not. And then it devolved in when I made a specific point. I don't even remember what the point was, but it devolved into him just attacking me. And that's why those personal attacks came. And when that happened, I think it's hysterical when people assume I'm a guy. It happens all the time. So I just screenshotted it and then shared it on my personal Facebook with like, okay, guys, I'll back off. Like, my bad. I'll tell my wife to cover up. Because I find it funny. I didn't respond after that. And then he called me a troll and blocked me. So, I mean, there's a lot of people who have like kind of personal rules. Like if it's anonymous account and they don't have like a picture of a human in their profile picture, I don't engage. And those are probably good rules. I don't get trolled quite often enough to need rules like that. But I imagine Carlos might.
Actually, there's only one I can think of that I remember. I posted a selfie or whatever. He just put like some insult or whatever, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. But like I as much as I don't want to take things personally, like I always take things personally. It's just who I am. So, but I remember I just muted the guy just because like I didn't want to deal with it, and then like I don't know, maybe maybe a month ago, I think he messaged me saying like, you're a seminarian, why aren't you speaking out on churches getting destroyed or blah blah blah. I'm like, why? Or just why aren't you speaking out about this X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, I didn't respond. I kind of unblocked the guy, and it's just that I'm always like one to just not respond and just ignore. If it needs a response, then I'll might say something like another time. And this is my mistake. Like it was just foolish. Like Abby Johnson tweeted something, and I posted a meme saying delete this, and I was just kind of just being me. I just I saw a lot of other people like saying you should delete this. I was like, oh, let me try to be funny, and it didn't work. but yeah, I remember she responded. And I was like, oh my god, what did I do? But she responded, and I don't know if she like intentionally wanted to berate me or whatever, or she said something tongue in cheek, and a lot of people who follow me came to my defense, and I was like, on the one side I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so nice, like
they like me.
Yeah. But at the same time, like I knew like I should have just tweeted it in the first place, and then so like a lot of my responses, I think I try to be more reflective. Like something else that Abby Johnson tweeted that was related to kind of racism and stuff like that. And I kind of just put out a thread, and because I had seen something that she said, and I was so angry, so it was almost appalled. But I knew that the appropriate response was just to pray for her, and I wanted to share that because I knew people needed to pray for her as well. Like this was enough of her getting bashed online. As much as I enjoyed it, like I confess, like it's nice seeing like it's and that's the original sin coming into play. Like we like when people who are wrong get like totally bashed because it's like, yeah, you're wrong, like you should stay wrong. But like it's always harder to pray for the person and kind of just love them in the definition of like willing for their good. So I put out just a thread saying like, in all seriousness, please pray for Abby Johnson. I said, it's mind blowing that she could say all these things, but like we need to pray, and like there's a lot of other people that hold these same opinions, and I admitted like in the tweet, I said like there's a lot more I could say without. But then I just cross over into being venomous, and I don't want to do that because, like I said, I think before, like, if you see someone in a collar, doesn't matter who, just saying something at least negative, like it's gonna severely impact someone who's maybe somewhat interested in converting. And that can be almost like a deterrent. And As much as we're human, like, you know, and it's like a whole nother discussion I could talk like a few hours for, but like, as much as we're human, we still have to strive to be, you know, Christ on earth, that alter Christus that, you know, that priests are and that seminarians are aspiring to be. And so we have to kind of put our best foot forward in these things. So, and it's hard. It's like the hardest thing in the world, but like, you know, we have to do it and kind of always call people back to pray and be charitable. And sometimes the most charitable thing is just not saying anything.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
Keep going.
And, you know, I am not in favor of like cancel culture in general, but I do think that there is wisdom. Again, I'm a mama. I have teenage children, none of whom are active on social media. However, that's purposeful because, like, think of all of the depression, all of the suicides. I mean, we have a television show based on, you know, social media bullying and suicide and all of those things. Like, oh my goodness, our children are being inundated with this new way of being attacked, you know, in terms of cyberbullying. And if someone came to my door and lobbed attacks and vitriol at my family members, I would shut the door. Like, I would be like, done with you now. Like, this does not have a place here because it's not appropriate. It's not healthy. It's not good for me to hear it. And it's also not good for you to say it. So let's just stop it now. What do you think about that? Do you feel like that's, I mean, you already said that you have had the experience of blocking someone and muting someone and all of those things. And I think that's a little bit different than cancel culture. Do you see a distinction there?
Yeah, I think I don't really follow cancel culture, honestly. I know like the basics. Like,
well, it means like if someone disagrees with you or if someone has an opinion that is unpopular, then delete, you're done. You don't have a right to say the things that you want to say. You're canceled.
Usually it ends in ruining their career.
Yeah.
Is usually where it goes.
But yeah, that I've seen that. That's the thing that really, you know, as much as I hate it, you know, like, it's just, how do I put this? It's not charitable at all.
No.
You know, just like, I know, like, you disagree with someone, okay, like they're wrong. Okay, cool. Like, and
they can be wrong.
Yeah, you know, people can be wrong. Like, you know, we're not perfect, but, you know, and blocking someone and muting someone, if that's for your own good, then go ahead, block, mute. But and after some time has elapsed, if, like, you know, you're not so angry at the person anymore, you can unblock and kind of, you know, reconcile and get things back to normal. But to go as far as like ruining someone's career, that's just straight up, like, it's diabolical almost. It's because, you know, you say one wrong thing and your entire life is just over. And no, that's not what we're called to do. Like, you know, called to the definition of love that, you know, I've been praying with a lot is just to will the good of another, and willing someone else's good is making sure, like, okay, they might be wrong, but like, let me pray for them, let me educate them. And if they continue to be ignorant or whatever, like, there's so much you can do. There's only so much you can do, and then all you can do is just, you know, if you have to block, and then just keep praying for that person. I remember one of my mutual followers had tweeted something like, that your list of blocked accounts should be a list of prayer intentions. Like,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, I really like that. It was just, it's really something to think about. It's like, you know, you reflect on why that person made you angry, or why he or she annoyed you, or blah, blah, and you pray for that person's good, and you say, you know, like, if it's someone who's just a straight up troll, just say like, hey, you know, Lord, please stop the troll.
Untroll them.
Yeah, exactly.
De-troll them.
Yeah.
Convert their hearts.
Yeah, it's like, you know, heaven's the goal at the end of the day.
Yes.
So we want to get as many people as we want in there. So, you know, we just got to keep praying. And usually my prayers, like, my just go-to response, just pray about it. And I can almost do it to a fault. Sometimes, you know, sometimes the correct response is to speak out about something.
Sure.
But, like, first, like we said, I think we were praying before, just by the Holy Spirit to speak through you or tweet through you, and and pray that you're just used as an instrument. That's it. So
I think the Holy Spirit is using you, Carlos. You're doing such a good job. And
thank you.
for joining us today. Forrest, thank you for stepping up
Pleasure.
and joining us as a very formidable co-host. I hope you'll be back too. But you guys have a great day. I think this was a great live stream. I learned a lot.
It was
Thank
awesome.
you so much.
And I'm going to start praying for my blocked, muted people.
It's a good idea.
Not that I have that many, but
normalize praying for the block list.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Bye, y'all. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.